In 1981, two internationally famous actors were to find their lives on a collision course which was to end in near tragedy. One was Jodie Foster, the child acting sensation who had shot to international fame for her role in the movie Taxi Driver. The other was Ronald Reagan, the former Hollywood star of the 1940s and 50s, now globally famous in his new role as the 40th President of the United States.
Bible and raise your right hand.
So help me God.
Now, congratulate you, sir.
People don't understand how crazy this day was. It changed the world.
Neither of them had ever met, nor had either ever met the man who would cause their names to be inextricably linked. His name was John Hinckley. John Hinckley became obsessed with the movie, its characters, and its story.
He watched the movie about 15 times, and that is where he got introduced to Jodie Foster.
The movie became a central part of his delusional fantasies, and Jodie Foster, the object of his affections.
John Hinckley fell in love with this 12-year-old prostitute girl in this movie, and that's pretty much what drew him to her. He fell in love with her persona, her look, how she carried herself. He fell madly in love with her and wanted to impress her, so he pretty much took on the persona of Robert De Niro's character and came up with these massive plots and twists in his head to impress Jodie Foster.
While Hinckley's attitude to Jodie was benign and affectionate, he was cooking up a plan to get her attention, one by which its very audacity would capture the attention of the whole world. And his crazy dream was about to become a reality. John's choice of action was to have wide-ranging international repercussions and was to throw the U.S. government into chaos.
He thinks, how can I impress Jodie Foster? I know how I'll impress Jodie Foster. I'll get the president.
On March 28th, Hinckley had arrived in Washington by bus. He checked into the Park Central Hotel and studied the president's schedule for the next few days. On the morning of the 30th, he wrote but did not mail a letter to Foster. He said that he hoped to impress her with the magnitude of his action.
As Hinckley is in his hotel room about to leave in the taxi to go shoot Reagan, he writes a letter to Jodie Foster in which he says, Jodie, I'm doing this basically for you. If I'm successful in my chance to get Reagan, you will really know who I am. It's just astonishing that he would put that in writing.
On that particular day, me and my partner, we reviewed all information that was available to us relative to any individuals or groups that might present a danger to the president during this movement.
But there was nothing unusual on the intelligence radar.
It was a normal day. There was nothing out of the norm, if you will, as far as crowds, the events, protesters, which there were none, and any of the activity that was going on at the hotel that presented a problem for us. There was just nothing that concerned us. In fact, it was really an unremarkable day.
But the Secret Service had become increasingly concerned for the presidential safety at public events.
They had been pushing these magnetometers, you know, metal detectors, when you go through an airport, pushing them to allow them to use those things at events the president was at. And the White House kept saying, no, 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 it's going to offend everyone. We can't do that.
But the familiarity of the location gave them, and the agent in charge, Jerry Parr, some reassurance.
The presidential detail had been to the Hilton more than 100 times in the last decade with the president. He went there a lot. They were so complacent. Jerry Parr told me our biggest failing, we were so complacent. It didn't dawn on us to wear vests. We didn't think of pushing that rope line back. We'd just done it so many times, it was so rote. This is the Hilton, this is what we do.
The president entered the Hilton at 1:45 p.m. He spoke for nearly half an hour.
Following the president's speech, my job, after having been satisfied that the posted agents had no information relative to any suspicious activity or suspicious persons that they may observe during the course of the speech, I proceeded to the president as he departed the stage toward the motorcade.
Meanwhile, Hinckley had positioned himself in a small alcove. about 20 feet from where Reagan had entered the building, just behind a small group of well-wishers who had been allowed to gather behind a rope line.
I was actually there and tested it. I walked into the secret hiding place and found that nobody could see me at all. It was a perfect place to hide if you were trying to avoid detection.
At 2:27, the president walked from the hotel.
As he walked toward the car, there was a crowd across the street that were acknowledging him, trying to get his attention and whatnot.
Hinckley stepped out of his secret hiding place,
pulls out a 6-shot 22 caliber gun and unleashes 6 shots in 1.7 seconds. 1.7 seconds is the time it takes me to say 1.7 seconds. That's how fast he gets it off. First shot hits Jim Brady, the press secretary, in the head. He falls to the ground. The second shot hits Tom Delahanty, a DC police officer, in the back. He had been looking the wrong way. He falls to the ground. The way to Reagan should be clear, but Jerry Parr, the 50-year-old head of the Secret Service detail, is already reacting. He's reacting before his mind can even process their bullet's been fired. He's shoving Reagan towards that open limousine door. Hinckley's third shot goes high and hits a building across the street.
Shots fired. Shots fired. There are some injuries. Way one on.
Once the shots rang out, it was almost like muscle memory, instinctive moves by every special agent, to include myself. I immediately went toward my weapon and actually had my weapon pointed in his direction. I could see that he was still firing. The reason why I did not fire is because I thought an agent come across my line of fire. That opportunity to shoot Hinckley was milliseconds.
The fourth shot hits Tim McCarthy, a Secret Service agent, in the chest, spread wide, takes a bullet without a bulletproof vest. This shot hits the bulletproof window of the limousine. Because it was a backward opening door, it saves the Reagan's life again. That bullet slaps against the bulletproof window. The sixth shot echoes across the driveway. No one realizes at the time. It slaps against the limousine, slips through a gap that wide between the door and the door frame, and hits Reagan under the left armpit. They tumble in the door slams shut. Reagan and Parr are in the back. The driver of the car, Drew Unruh, slams down the accelerator, praying he doesn't run over his friend Tim McCarthy, who's on the ground, because it will kill him.
Once we had gotten Hinckley in the car, I directed Officer Swain, Metropolitan Police Department, to take us to Metropolitan Police Department Central Cell Block. That was the holding area, that was their temporary jail. Hinckley's not saying anything. He's pretty stoic. He's looking around. I'm just thinking that he's trying to digest what is taking place here. Halfway to Metropolitan Police Central Cell Block, he asked for the scores of the NCAA college basketball tournament. Dennis used a couple of expletives in describing to him that we didn't know what the scores were. And he said nothing after that.
Within hours, the White House was in total confusion. Hinckley was in custody, but no one knew if the President of the United States was going to live or die.
Reagan's entire presidency, in fact, the future of the world in some ways, changes in the next 30 seconds.
The attempted assassination set off a chain of events which left the U.S. government in a state of total confusion.
Now, in this car, they're peeling away. Reagan and Parr, as they pull around on T Street, they take off down Connecticut Avenue. The way to the White House is completely clear because they'd shut down Connecticut Avenue. They were going straight to the White House. Reagan and Parr actually checked Reagan out. He rubbed his hands up and down his side, checked his face, he looked okay. Reagan was complaining about a little pain in his side from where he'd been thrown in, Parr thought, into the car and hurt his side back when he landed. So Parr gets on, makes him get on the radio and says, "Hey,
Rawhide is okay. Follow up. Rawhide is okay. You want to go to the hospital or back to the White House? We're going to Crown. Okay.
we're heading to Crown." Crown being the White House. That's the code name for the White House. They're heading back to the White House. This is a smart move at this moment because the White House is the most secure place in the universe. There are more guns at the White House by any other place in DC. This guy could be a legitimately good assassin. He got 6 shots off, super fast, hit all these people. Only by the grace of God did Reagan not get hit, they think. They're taking off.
But events changed dramatically in seconds.
Reagan pulls a napkin out of his pocket of his jacket that he had taken from the event at the Hilton and dabs his lip, and there's bright frothy blood. Well, bright frothy blood tells Parr it's from the lungs, not a lip. Oh, that's not good. Jerry Parr realizes something much more serious has happened, and he makes one of the most consequential decisions in U.S. presidential history.
Roger, we want to go to the emergency room of George Washington. That's the Roger. Go to George Washington fast.
Maybe I broke a rib, he thinks, and it punctured a lung. What do I do? Reagan, meanwhile, is complaining more and more of pain. So Parr makes this consequential decision. We're not going to the White House anymore, which, by the way, has its own medical facility. We're going to go to divert to George Washington University Hospital. They reach the hospital 3 minutes after the shooting. Reagan insists on walking inside under his own power. Very cowboy-esque. Even when he gets out of the limousine, hitches up his pants. President Reagan understood that the world is a stage, and this was his role to play. And the President of the United States is not helped into the emergency room. He walks.